I often use what is called paramount lighting when I shoot beauty. Paramount lighting is when the key light is placed directly in front of the model's face, usually right above the camera or slightly to one side, and placed pretty high above the model's face as well. The lighting is easily spotted because of the strong lighting effect on the forehead, the bridge of the nose, and the upper cheeks, and the darker shadow under the nose, which resembles a butterfly. Thus, this lighting is also known as butterfly light. I call this lighting paramount lighting, which got its name from the photographers who shot a lot of the Hollywood movie stars during the golden era of Hollywood and nicknamed the lighting style after the movie studio. I can also enhance this lighting effect by either adding a reflector underneath the model's face to fill in the shadows if I think they're a little too harsh, or I can use another light as a rim light or a hair light, or I can do all three. I use loop lighting when I want a variation from the paramount lighting effect. Loop lighting is very similar to paramount, except that your key light is moved to one side instead of directly over the model's face, and usually a little lower. You'll see a small loop shadow coming off of the shadow side of the model's nose, but it shouldn't touch the cheek shadow. Rembrandt lighting is one of my favorite lighting effects. This type of lighting creates more shadow, therefore it's more dramatic looking. Its characteristic is a triangular shaped highlight underneath the eye on the shadow of the model's face. The key is placed high and to one side of the model, so one side of her face is fully lit while the other side falls into the shadows, creating a chiaroscuro effect, which I love. Chiaroscuro is the interaction between light and dark. I first discovered chiaroscuro light from studying the master painters such as Rembrandt, who Rembrandt lighting is named after. Using split lighting is a nice way to narrow a model's face. Your light should be placed so that one side of her face is completely lit while the other side of her face falls into the shadow. Basic lighting setup. You start with your key light. It's your main light. It's the light that's in front of the model. Positioned in front, you're usually right behind it, and it's lighting the front of the model. You can work with that one light, or you can start adding light to it. An example of that would be using the fill light. If you turn off your key light and you just have the fill light, you see where it's very split. It's just lighting the right side of me, and the left side of me goes very dark. You can take off the fill light and add a hair light, which is fabulous to light the hair and the edge, the left side of my body, but there's no light on me. So it's almost meaningless to use just that one light. But what happens if you keep the hair light on and add the key light? There you've got two lights. You've got a key that's lighting me, and you've got a hair light that's lighting my hair and the edge of me. Now let's add the third light again with the fill, and that's a very basic lighting setup. You can teach yourself how to light by using one light at a time. You start with a totally blank canvas, and that can be just a dark studio. And you add one light, and that can be your key light. So at least you can see what you're lighting. And then if you want to have less shadow and you want to kick in some light from the side, then you add a fill light. Then if you want to add a little bit more dimension, a little bit more sculpting to the photograph, add a hair light or backlight. Then you've got three lights. It's a really beautiful setup, and it's very simple. Now I'm standing about 6 feet away from the key, about 5-6 feet away from the fill, and the hair light's about 8 feet behind me. And that's pretty basic. You could have the model move over, and then you're going to get more light on the fill. You could have her closer over here. It's going to be having more light on the key, with the key. And I don't really like static photographs, personally, where she's just standing there each time doing this, the standard model poses. I think that looks pretty dorky. I feel dorky just doing it. You know, if I have to choose a lighting setup, or that if I get to choose a lighting setup, I really like using a beauty dish as my key and a strip bank for my fill. I love that look. When I'm casting a model for beauty, I look for a girl that can really emote. Like when I'm going through the submissions and or when I'm looking through the model cards, I look for a girl that can show like a range of emotions. Sometimes it's really hard to get that with a new face. Girls that aren't used to being in front of the camera can kind of close off or shut down a little bit. You know, it's the same thing. It's experience that makes people sort of lighten up and loosen up. And I also look for a girl that's got great skin. So it's kind of a catch-22 because a lot of the younger girls have better skin, I guess, but then they don't have the experience. So I try to find a girl that's been working a few years, that knows how to emote to the camera, who knows how to give, who's, you know, not shut down. It could be a new face too. Some girls are just very natural.
With glamour,
Yeah.
I mean, and start with
Yes.
this, like with the brow and.
This is loop lighting. This is what they call loop. It just means that the shadow's making a loop at the side of her nose, but it's almost paramount.
Okay.
So something like that would be
Okay.
great in the beginning with her. And then
Start with this.
we'll start with this.
Okay.
Okay? And then maybe go into that. And you don't really need to do too much change, but maybe get smokier and maybe looser. How's that? We start out like really structured like that, and then we can get like more sexy.
Okay, I
Yeah?
like it.
Okay.
Which place to start?
Do we have our hair?
Just
the
make
same
her
way?
look
You have a
beautiful,
lot more
really.
hair than I
Oh, we do
but-
have our hair the same way.
Just, you know, just really just make her look incredible. That's it.